session for 8 a.m. once again. Okay. Now, first, let us look at the requirements below. Okay. Okay. In the requirements, uh, respond to the NGN request for work on the following areas: the existing warehouse information system. It will give us 7 marks. It will give us 7 marks. Then the next requirement is the management consultant proposals and application of the 5Ss, 13 marks. There are 5 marks available for the first part of the work in this area and 8 marks available for the second part of the work in this area. Okay. So we have two parts in this second area. Now we will look at the scenario. The following exhibits provide information relevant to the question. The organization information, the background and the operations and the organization, NJN, warehouse information system, information about the WIS, and the service level agreement between NJN and Vortex. Okay, management consultant proposal and application of the 5S advice from a management consultant about the application of lean principles. Performance measures for 5S relating to the warehouse reorganization. This information should be used to answer question requirements. Okay. Nelson, Jody, and Nigel operates a warehouse and distribution center storing and distribution 5,000 product lines on behalf of its client and overseas sports equipment manufacturer. Vortex. NGN received goods in shipping containers, which should include a packaging list of the items they contain. Sometimes packaging lists are lost in transit. Okay. And Vortex is asked for duplicates. Packing lists are manually input into NGN warehouse system, information system in batches, usually within 48 hours of the goods being received. Goods are first unpacked into the sorting area and later moved to wherever there is available warehouse space once the packing list has been input. Okay. The WIS records the location within the warehouse uh, where each item is located. Vortex customers who are retail stores place orders by email and do not currently have access to real-time inventory levels in NJN warehouse. Each morning, picking lists are printed in the warehouse office. These lists show the quantities of items to be picked and the items' 12-digit product codes. Staff use these codes to retrieve items from the warehouse location for dispatch to retailers. So, in 8% of picking lists, at least one item is not in the location or does not have the quantity specified by the WIS. Okay. As a result, item is not dispatched or the wrong item is picked. A small team investigates these discrepancies using special reports, which are the warehouse manager extracts from the WIS. The team manually reconciles quantities of missing items in the warehouse to the vortex on records of the items which should be in inventory. If missing items cannot be found, vortex is informed via an email that they are unavailable. Cool. Now, Vortex has a service level agreement with NJN covering the accuracy of picking and a proportion of the customers' orders successfully fulfilled. NJN performance on these has deteriorated, especially when there is increased seasonal demand for certain products. At this time, staff are under increased pressure to pick items quickly. And so picking accuracy deteriorates and absenteeism increases. There have also been accidents where goods have not been safely placed or safely picked from warehouse location at busy times. This resulted in injuries to some employees. So, Vortex has threatened to end NGN contract if performance does not improve. In response, NGN has recruited more staff to investigate discrepancies between items physically in warehouse location and those shown on the warehouse information system. At busy periods, has also began a series of cyclical inventory counts where every product line is counted every month to correct the quantities and location shown on the WIS. NJN has rented an additional nearby warehouse in which to sort incoming items before they are put away. Now, see, NJN has asked you to help them in assessing the effectiveness of the existing uh, warehouse information system in reducing waste and adding value its workflow. Cool. Move on then. NJN has hired a management consultant who is an expert in the lean principles and the application of this management information system. She believes that WIS is wasteful, not adding value to the business or its customers, and has suggested that NJN would benefit from the application of lean principles to this system. The management consultant has suggested three proposals. The NJN reorganize the warehouse, sorting high volume items close to the dispatch area, shut down the additional warehouse, discontinue the cyclical inventory counts. To help with the adoption of lean principles in the warehouse reorganization, the management consultant NJN apply the 5S of lean principles, and she has suggested performance metrics which can be used to evaluate NJN progress towards adopting this appendix. One, okay. Now sort, structurize, simplify, systemize, scanitize, standardize, sustain, self-discipline, and they have requested you to complete work in two areas. First, advise whether the management consultant proposals will help to eliminate the different types of waste identified under lean principles. Number two, second, evaluate whether the application of the five steps following the warehouse reorganization is adequately measured by the performance metrics in Appendix 1. So, Appendix 1 performance measure for 5S relating to the warehouse reorganization. Warehouse managers daily assessment of the tidiness of the warehouse on scale of 1 to 10, the proportion of the inventory not stored uh, in order of itself, alphabetical description with products, with names bringing with A nearest the dispatch area and Z furthest away. So the number of accident caused by incorrectly stored or picked. So we have looked at the uh, question overall. Now we will be starting with the solution now. So we starting our solution. Okay, just a sec. Yeah, here we go. The solution here. Nelson, Jody, and Nigel. Oh, so it is. Mm, and Nelson, Jody, and Nigel. the question name. Bingo. Now, what's our heading? First heading, if you remember, effectiveness is a warehouse information system. So here we go. Effectiveness of warehouse information system. And at NJN, at least some of the inputs to the WIS uh, are manual, and that means they are prone to error. Manual input is uh, manual input is time consuming and costly. The packing list, which are received in the shipping containers, are input manuals. If input uh, incorrectly, the qualities of items in the locations in the WIS will also be incorrect. Uh, so incorrect information in the WIS waste time by needing teams to investigate the discrepancy, reconcile inventory record with those held by, held by the vortex and correct the information held on the WIS. See, here, still here. I just connected with the scenario, take out the examples out of it, as you can see, which will provide us commercial equipment marks as well. Right now, for further, what we will say, furthermore, customers will not receive the items they have ordered because in 8% of taking notes, items are not in the locations they should, be or in the insufficient quantity, sorry, insufficient quantities. This is a high proportion of errors. Again, I deep dive into the scenario, take out the things from the scenario, and this again gave me further commercial acumen marks as well. All right. Um, Now, further, staff will waste time looking for items stored in the wrong locations. This will cause customer dissatisfaction and mean that larger larger quantities of inventory will need to be added, which is a wasteful use of storage space. Fewer orders can be fulfilled per unit of warehouse space than otherwise would be the case of the sources of waste. In the long term, this means that NJN staff must undertake a series of cyclical inventory counts in order to correct the information held in the WIS. This is a wasteful activity which does not add value to customers and should be eliminated. The provision of accurate inventory information. The provision of accurate information will also be of value to the retailers who will be able to place for items which are actually available rather than rather than be told in later. Email them that items are not available, leading to increased customer satisfaction. Okay, so NJM should consider barcodes or radio frequency identif uh, identify, which are known as RFIDs. Wow. On product to ensure that accurate data is input into the WIS using the devices, the product number and quantities of goods entering and leave the warehouse could be automatically read into the WIS without any intervention from warehouse staff. This would reduce the time taken to manually input the data, improve its accuracy. So far, so good. So improve its accuracy an effective information system may interface directly with the vortex and retail customers information system through uh, electronic data interchange, which is known as EDI. This would increase service levels, by ensuring that all parts of the value chain had had access to accurate and timely information. Now, other issue we have time delays. So the packing list batches are not available until up to 48 hours after receipt of the goods. The information held in the WIS will therefore out of the data or out of date items which are required for sale orders may be unavailable for picking. The use of automated input where possible, will increase the timeliness of the input in the WIS. This will reduce the labor cost of correcting the system and improve the number, accuracy, and completeness of order dispatch to the customer, right? Although, I've I've done I have done enough for the 7 marks, right? But I'm getting more ideas, and so I'm writing more, right? Giving you the most points which you can cover in your solution, which you can in your solution, and the reason is if you will remember the 50% of my solution, of my ideas, or get my ideas, you will pass. All right. If I write this much, you will remember the 50% of these ideas that won't be enough. So that's why I'm generating more ideas and uh, writing more. Okay. Um, Currently, all taking notes are printed in the warehouse office, which may be some distance from the area where items are picked. This implies the existence of the bottleneck in the provision of information to the staff taking the items. And waste staff time moving to and from warehouse, office to pick up the reports. So an improvement would be to ensure that information is available when and where it is needed using the systems in the warehouse of portable device such as tablets. This would reduce time spent collecting, picking information. Similarly, in order to investigate discrepancies, staff have to obtain special reports which the warehouse manager extract from the WIS. Again, this is a bottleneck which could delay staff getting the correct information and may mean that the reports are inconsistent depending on the parameters to run them. An effective system would eliminate would eliminate the problems by the by providing standardized reports when requested and in an optimal location. So far, so good. As you can see, uh, 1 mark for per valid point is enough, and uh, I wrote more than 14 points. Right. So this much solution is enough, even though I wrote the double of the requirement, just so that you can remember and the various points which you can use. Okay. Now, we will move to the next requirement, which was B part one. What was that? Management consultant proposals. So there are two main types of ways at NJM, which can be identical using lean principle. One, one is waste which does not add value to the customer. Second is waste which occurs due to varieties in demand on and demands of staff. So now reorganizing the warehouse to place high volume items near to the dispatch area will help uh, reduce the waste associated with the excessive movement of staff means uh, the staff to pick goods. Less movement, which means less less staff time and cost will be required by staff to pick these items and bring them to where they are to be dispatched. It may be, however, may be, however, that large and bulky. Items should be placed near to the dispatched area instead to save on the longer term. Average time spent transporting them to the this may also address the issues associated with increased seasonal demand for certain type of product which are popular for the specific period. Good stored more closely to the dispatches. So far, so good. The cost of a absenteeism is a way covered by the cost of the waste, sorry, of the absenteeism is a waste caused by demanding too much of staff at busy time to compensate for efficient organization in the warehouse and the error in the WIS. The cost of searching for items which have been put in the wrong physical location at the busy times is a waste due to variation in activity level. Another type of waste which does not add value to the customer is holding excessive inventory. For example, the additional warehouse space which NJN has rented by not using the warehouse efficiently. So the management accountant has suggested that the cyclical inventory counts do not add value to the customers and are demanding for the staff. This is a wasteful activity. Correcting errors which have occurred in the WIS engine should instead instead should ensure that errors do not occur in first place, which will cost less than correcting them. Now, the last part, part B, two, that is performance metrics, and 5S. So for that, this involves introducing first is sort, okay, sort, structurize, okay. So here what we'll say, this involves introducing order where possible. For example, by ensuring that items in the warehouse are arranged so that they are easy to find. This would be, sorry, this would also include segregating damaged or obsolete inventory or discarding it from the warehouse. The management consultant has suggested the performance metric of the proportion of inventory not stored in order of its alphabetical description with A near the dispatch area and Z as the means of measuring this. This may measure how easy it is to measure best use of all available space or make the picking process more efficient. It may also be subjective and move to sorry and prone to error caused by the interpretations of the product description. For example, deciding if deciding if cricket balls be measured under C or B. Then we have simplify, which is also known as systemize. So here what we'll say that this principle involves organizing items so that they are easy to use at NJN means being able, being able to accurately pick the correct item in the shortest possible time. It could also cover access to another time. It could also could also cover access to other resources, other resources such as having computer terminals close to where they are needed. The measure relating to the job of goods alphabetically seems to conflict with the consultant's recommendations to place the high volume lines close to the dispatch area, whereas storing goods alphabetically seems to conflict with the consultant's recommendations to place the high volume lines high volume uh, items close to the dispatch area, whereas storing goods alphabetically make an item easy to find. It does not necessarily make them easy to use, them easy to use pick by storing the high volume items near to dispatch area. The average time taken to pick orders would be reduced. So far, so good. Then we have next heading scan, known as sanitize. Wow. We are just towards the end of the question, right? So this principle means to be Means to be tidy and avoid clutter. This helps make things easy to find, allows easy access for staff around the warehouse and help makes safe working environment. The warehouse manager daily assessment of tidiness is a suitable measure of this principle, but it is a subjective assessment. This is the possibility that the assessment will be biased, especially if the warehouse manager who is under taking the assessment is also having his performance evaluated on the tidiness of the warehouse. The characteristics of the tidy warehouse compared to an untidy are will need to be defined. There is the possibility of inconsistent measurement if someone other the warehouse manager other than the warehouse manager does the assessment or the assessment is done at different different times of the day. Sorry. So far so good. Next one is next heading is standardize. So these principles involve finding the best way of this principle involve finding the best way of undertaking a process or task and applying a classification. Sorry, and uh, applying it consistently. The suggested metric of the number of the accidents covered by goods, which have not been stored or not picked in the correct way would measure this as and should aim to have no accident, a performance measure with the target level of zero. Now the last heading we have sustain, which means self-discipline, as we looked at already. Okay. So the principle relates to the sustaining the other five as by motivating employees. Motivation is subjective and hard to measure. None of the performance measure, the management consultant has directly suggested directly major this principle, the consistency in which specific tasks or process are performed could be a measure of how well they are being sustained. So far, so good. And we are done with the solution for this question. This is how we should do, right? By this, using the scenario, taking examples out of it, and commenting on it. I got commercial acumen marks. I got the print evaluation and analysis marks, and this is how it is done. I hope you get it. If you have any questions, you can ask me. Till then, take care. Bye bye.